None of us are young anymore. We'll put it that way.
Right.
You guys in your 40s?
Yeah.
50.
50 even?
Almost
52,
there.
52.
Almost
right.
there.
Yeah.
Almost there. 49.
Yeah. 48.
And so when you hear someone like Andre 3000, who also sat on this couch with us, say, what am I going to rap about as a 50-year-old? Colonoscopies? Like, how does that make you feel as somebody who seems to have no shortage of lyrics left?
Well, for me, it makes me appreciative that I still believe in what I do.
Yeah.
I'm probably begging Andre for a verse
Like right
probably
now.
every month. Every month or so.
Just
like,
send him a
yo,
quick text.
Because we
yo,
know he
yeah,
can still
yeah.
do it. If he's inspired, he'll still do it.
Dog. Yeah.
I think it's being inspired. You know, sometimes people get in different situations in life where, you know, rap is not at the forefront. You're thinking about
Right.
other things. You're thinking about the issues of life. But yeah, your talent is always your talent.
We're also from a generation, I think, where it was explained to us that rapping was not forever. It was a young man's sport.
Well,
Yeah.
You didn't have
Yeah.
Jay in his midlife rapping really well era. You didn't have rappers that were signed to deals and put out 10 albums. People came and went. And I think that was what was handed down generationally to say, okay, you can do this in your 20s, but once you hit 30, 32, 34, and
Get
also
yourself a car dealership or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
But not
Yeah.
to mention, you know, they would say that rap itself wasn't going to be around.
of course. So
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
you know, don't
Don't
put
bet
all
on
your
it.
eggs in this
Yeah.
basket.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the fact that you guys are here at this stage rapping with the same kind of like ferocity as the records from 20 years ago, to me is a testament that it has so little to do with age. And also it's about how broad the genre is now, right? You can do
Yeah.
what you do, have your audience, be successful. Opium guys can do what they do, have their
Yeah.
audience and be
Yeah.
successful. That's not how it
Yeah.
was in 96, 92. It wasn't like that. You had one shot,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Very, very true. But I do think that this is the era. And when I say this era, I'm talking about this CLIPSE
Mhm.
2002 from where we're from.
Yeah.
I think this will be the era that proves that it doesn't have to age out ever.
Right.
Before us, you got Hove. He has so much mogul shit going on.
Right.
So I think our era is like, you know, competitively doing this right now. I don't think Hove had to competitively.
Right. Rap is
Rap.
still your main
Yeah,
thing.
like,
Right.
yeah.
Rap is not his main thing.
Right,
Rap is something he
exactly.
does when he feels
And I
like it.
think all of that comes from our era.
And Mouse, you were talking about needing that inspiration, Andre 3000, finding it, you know, once every couple of years. When you're back home in Virginia, when did it strike you again?
Yeah, it wasn't even about inspiration. It was just about where my focus was at the time. All this time off, it has been a beautiful time of reflection, growth, learning. Not only that, but as I'm sitting back and made my departure, I'm watching
Right.
so many people falter with what I was going through. I'm watching it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I see sorrow. I see depression. I've seen murders. You know what I'm saying?
Drug addiction.
You're seeing Ricos. You're
Yep.
seeing sexual addictions. You're seeing a whole bunch of stuff. Like I'm watching it, and all people have to do is like, yo, it's okay. Take time for yourself. Get yourself together. But some people can't let go. Because I've done that, now I am able to, you know, come back with my brother and go at this thing again or whatever.
One thing, when I was going through the old transcript, you guys referred to Hell Have No Fury as, this is before it came out, as an emotional drug record, which I thought was a great term. But one thing that I've always felt with both of you guys on CLIPSE albums and also individually is you're hinting at internal struggle, but you're not necessarily putting it right out there. And on this album, the new album, right in the first song, you're leading with that.
Right.
And I wonder if you can talk about the decision behind, I mean, I know you lost both your parents in relatively quick succession a couple of years ago. I'm very sorry about that.
Thank you.
Leaning into the choice to not only rap about it, but also lead with it.
I think the idea to lead with it on the album, to lead with the record Birds Don't Sing, came from the process of creating the record.
Mm.
I think the process was unbearably hard.
Yeah.
So much so that like we were like, man, this is the hardest record. Like, you know, we got hard records on the album, but no, the mentality of this and just the depth of this and the process of it was so hard that it like I knew that this was going to touch people, and I felt like we should get that. We should pull them in with that.
Trying to navigate life without my compass. Some experience death and feel numbness, but not me. I felt it all and couldn't function.
The safe thing to do is you make that the final track.
Make
right?
that
That's
the final track, man.
The song
no.
about our parents, that's
No.
the final track.
No,
Not here.
It was too important. Too important for so many reasons. It was just something that couldn't be ignored as far as tackling the subject matter.
If you guys were going to get in the booth,
Yeah.
it was the thing that was right in front of you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Also reuniting as brothers, coming together as a family again, and as what remains of your core familial unit with your parents gone, like to reintroduce yourselves that way. Did that feel important to honor your parents and how they raised you? Did that feel like the right way to reintroduce yourselves as a unit?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, my dad and my parents, the way that they parented us, I think that's a narrative that needs to be spoken about. You know what I'm saying?
You want to center that.
I think people need to hear it, you know, especially in our community.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay if you didn't come up with both of your parents, but you can change it if you want to, you know, if you have kids. And I think it's very important, like it's very important that we be there for, you know, for our kids. It's funny because I've always seen my brother, like he really never played about that. You know what I'm saying? If you weren't taking care of your kids, you can't come hang out with us in the club. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see you nowhere around me. If you're not doing nothing for your kids, like what kind of friend can you be to me?
This is going all the way back.
This is man
before
this,
you
this,
had
this
a
this
child,
yeah,
you know.
before kids, before he had a son. Like we just knew that kind of etiquette. That's how we looked at it. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool. Like, you know, you can, if you can't help how you come up, but you can make changes.
Are you also a parent as well? Or?
I am. I'm a parent. I'm a grandparent. Yeah, I'm a grandparent. It's crazy. Yeah, yeah, but I am.
Is there an intersection with that? Joe was asking about morality and kind of your decision to step back and kind of the narratives that get put out, you know, on these records. How has parenting or just the act of knowing that you're responsible for these lives in the world, how has that changed your thinking about whether it's creativity or the message of the songs?
It's made me conscious of, but I've always been conscious of the things that I say, the things that I put out into the world. Said a lot, and a lot of things I knew better then, but the fact that I did it, I still talked about it. I hear from the listeners and fans and people who appreciate our music, or even if you don't appreciate our music, how I've always painted both sides of the picture. I recall on a record and on the verse was, I heard them pay for their fix. I seen them pay for their fix when their kids couldn't eat. Well, that was a real line. That's something I really saw, you know, with a mother that I dealt with, and her kids were hungry. And she told him that she didn't have any money, but I know what you just did with your money, you know, and I seen it. And I talked about that, and I talked about how, you know, those kind of things made me feel. It's just reality and just painting it from, you know, from my perspective.
I think that's how I've always seen your music is like, I think of the CLIPSE characters as conscientious villains almost, you know, like
I think that'd be
like
fair to say.
Bad guys with hearts is sort of the image that you two have put out, and it is like there's something about being as brash as you've wanted your music to be, but then cutting it emotional drug music, you know, as John said, you've always balanced to that. But the other thing is that you want to live by a code, And even if you're a villain, you have to have a code, you know, like, and I think
Right.
that's
Right.
that's something that you're like, I'm gonna do
Honor amongst thieves.
right when
absolutely.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
do
Real
I'm
integrity.
gonna when I'm doing right, I'm gonna do it a certain way, and when I might be doing wrong, I'm still gonna do it a certain way. And
Yeah,
it feels-
that's what you tell yourself to help you feel good about.
Of course.
it. You know, that's what you do. Yeah.
We're all
Does that-
compensating in our
Yeah,
own
yeah,
ways.
Does that
Yeah,
ring true
yeah.
to you, Push? Because I
Yeah.
feel like you know you've done a little less maybe of the
Stepping back.
yeah the stepping back, but you also have that balance in your lyrics.
I think because the way I was raised, and particularly from my dad, I've always looked at music as more creativity and entertainment, and never thought or cared about what I put out there.
Like the ethics of it.
Yeah, the ethics of it, because that was not an excuse I got to lean on.
Mhm.
Like,
At
I didn't
home.
get to lean
yeah.
on excuses like that at home. Like, you know, the music didn't make me do it.
Yeah.
You know, like the music didn't
You're like, I
make
can
me
say
do
anything
it.
in the
Yeah,
music.
like I
Yeah,
could say
it's
anything in
it's fair
music.
game.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is, like, there were no excuses like that got to
You were stupid.
you were stupid. Exactly. My father would come. It's my dad's birthday today.
Yeah.
You know, like
Happy birthday.
yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
happy heavenly
Yeah,
birthday.
yeah.
Yup.
So we could sit down and like man, I'll never forget. He took us to the movies to watch. It was Chucky or no, it might have been Freddy. And you know, of course, we come back home. He's scaring me because of Freddy. And I'm younger. I'm scared. I'm crying. I'm whatever. And my dad is like, he does not understand. You know, I'm the fool. I'm
Right,
I'm the
right.
youngest one and everything. No, even at a young age, you better have some like,
Yeah.
you
None
know,
of that
some
foolishness.
none of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better have some common sense. You know that was a damn movie.
Right. That's
You
not
know,
real.
and
Yeah.
it's not real. I think, you know, with that being said, like, you know, I remember playing NWA in the car, and
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and you know, him listening to it and being like, you know, like you whether he liked it or he didn't, it was there, and he was like, okay, you know,
He was open to the
he
idea.
was just open to the